All right, Allison.
Yeah.
Allison, where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Bryan, Ohio.
And tell me about your family. You had both your parents growing up as a kid?
No, my mom, I lived with my mom. My parents got divorced when I was about 4. And my mom moved just around from town to town in Ohio. Whichever husband she had.
And how would you describe your childhood?
It was pretty normal up until towards my teenage years. Then it started getting really abusive because my mom married someone that didn't like me very much. And I ended up running away from home when I was 16.
Wow.
And I never went back.
Did you finish high school?
No. I dropped out halfway through my sophomore year.
And what kind of teenager were you?
I was a pretty normal teenager. I was really shy, not really outgoing at all. I did sports, but mostly did it just because there was nothing else to do. My town only had like 200 people in it.
Oh, small town.
Yeah. So being different wasn't really part of the itinerary. So I tried to like mingle as much as possible. And when it just got too rough, I just up and left.
When you say different, you mean?
Well, I was a gay boy back then.
Yeah.
But I didn't really like to identify as a gay boy. I just like to identify as Adam. But, and I wouldn't really figure out what I really was until like 10 years later.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that was about 3 years ago.
So this is all fairly recent that you realized who you are.
Yeah, I used to actually hate transgenders. I thought they were disgusting little creatures.
Really?
Yeah. But I guess it was just because I wanted to be them and didn't know how to...
Yeah, there's some interesting crossover between people who hate transgenders and those that are transgender.
Yeah,
It's a blurred line.
very much so.
And you came to California when?
First time I moved to California, I was 18. And I moved all around the United States, but I always ended up coming back. It was actually like my 28th time living here. It's the longest stint I've ever lived here. But yeah, I came here for a rave.
And stayed.
The first time, yeah, from Utah.
And do you find that being transgender out here is a little more accepted than back in small town Ohio?
Well, I've never actually went back being... I haven't seen anyone in my family since I was 16. Yeah. The atmosphere is different. I wouldn't say I'm more accepted because sometimes I wish I was still a gay boy with the means of how people interact with me and how not accepted it is. It really is.
Yeah.
Especially in the area that I live in.
You still get roughed up and treated badly?
Yeah, I mean, on a daily basis, it's gotten really, really bad. Actually, I don't know why, but I don't do anything to antagonize it. It's just me being there. And it's weird. It's just really weird.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of drugs in this neighborhood. Are you involved in any of that?
I am. I started doing crystal when I was 16. Wasn't until I started shooting up about 7 years ago that I became homeless. And then I was homeless for like 4 years, got clean, and then started doing black, and then eventually moved on to fentanyl.
So now you're using fentanyl
Yeah.
and crystal meth as well?
I use crystal meth, but mostly for work.
So your work is?
The blade.
Yeah. So you go over to the
No, not anymore. I go up to Santa Monica.
Boulevard?
Yeah, there's more money up there.
Yeah. It's probably the bottom of the barrel money down here.
Yeah, they want $20 for everything.
And on Santa Monica Boulevard, you can make how much?
Well, I used to be able to make on a weekday like $300 to $500, and on a weekend like $7. It's pretty much no cap on the weekends. It's anywhere between $100 to like $800 a night. But now with the pandemic, it's just there's nights where I don't make anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because there's no one out there.
Yeah, I know. I understand. But before the COVID thing broke out, what was your typical customer like?
Mostly Pisces. I don't date black guys, not because I'm racist, just because I've had very negative interactions, and but a lot of people guys from the studios is what I prefer. Oddly enough, I don't like to get into cars that have really nice cars because they generally don't have a lot of cash on hand and they want to do things before they pay me, and then they end up paying me like nothing. So that's happened like once or twice. So I'd rather get in a car that's like all rinkety because they have cash on hand. And yeah. So basically it's the lower class is my clients because they generally are the only ones that don't have banks, so all their money's on hand.
They have cash on them.
Yeah, you can work them out of it.
And have you had bad experiences doing this?
I've had way bad experiences. There was one time I got hospitalized because, well, I don't really know what happened. I just remember getting in the car and then waking up on the pavement. And I think he soccer punched me in the face.
Roughed you up?
Yeah, but he left all my money and he left me on the sidewalk with all my stuff. So I think that's just how he got off.
He just wanted to beat you up.
Yeah. And I've dealt with a few guys like that.
Do you get arrested sometimes?
I've never gotten arrested, but I date one of the cops over here. So he pretty much said he could get me out of anything as long as it's not a felony.
That's nice.
Yeah.
What is the hardest part of your lifestyle? Is it the danger?
The hardest part is just, sometimes it's just walking out the door because you know that something's gonna happen.
Is it the self-esteem hit that you take?
Yeah. I used to have really high self-esteem when I first started. It was empowering. It was the kind of thing that I never got when I came out of the closet as being gay. And so that empowering feeling has just kind of slowly been dwindled down to where like it takes longer to get out that door.
And what emotions do you deal with mostly? Is it anxiety? Is it anger? Is it depression?
It's awkwardness. Like, that's just pretty much what I deal with. Because I don't want to be awkward, but people make me awkward.
You feel awkward.
Yeah. And I just want to be normal.
Do you have any friends?
I have a friend.
Good friends?
I have one good friend in Long Beach. He's the one that helped me off the streets. He used to be a counselor at the McIntosh house. Or McIntyre house. And yeah, he helped me. He helped me by not helping me, by cutting me off, because he used to be my connect. And then he just kind of like, he's been the most stable person in my life since before I ran away. So, yeah, he's the only person I would consider a friend.
And these interactions with the guys that you pick up, how do they go? Are they just quick?
Yeah. Once they bust, they're gone.
Yeah. How many of those are you doing a night?
On a good night, I'll do like 8 or 12. But on a slow night, it's like 5 at least. I won't get off the blade unless I have 5.
Do you recall your first time doing this?
I think so. I remember being awkward. I was not a girl. But actually, it's actually what got me into being trans and realizing that that's who I was because girls made more money on the blade than any other gender. So it's what got me being comfortable with it. I used to run away when the sun came out and put on my boy clothes. And
Are a lot of the guys that pick you up on the down low, you think?
some of them are, some of them aren't. They're mostly all drug users. Like, I don't know if I could say this. I don't want to say it. But I have a really high profile client.
This is somebody famous?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't name names.
Yeah. But it's really nice because he's the only one I've ever encountered. And just to find out that, like, he does really raunchy shit.
So he's not known as somebody who would do this?
No. It just kind of sheds a light on the other side.
Yeah, I think there's probably some secrets that some people have.
Oh, yeah, he has a lot of them.
What you do to support yourself, does it change the way you view people or men?
It doesn't change the way I view anybody because everyone has their vices. I'd be calling the kettle black if I did. But it has changed how I'm able to interact. Because now it's really hard for me to be in a relationship with a guy without being money involved. And it's hard for me to see having sex with a guy without some kind of exchange going. And it's really hurt me in that aspect because I never had sex for the fun of it. It was always, there was something I was getting something out of it.
So finding a relationship that's just
love is
love,
hard.
nothing else,
Yeah.
would be difficult for you?
Yeah.
You need the money to make you feel loved?
I don't know if it,
For real?
yeah. And I don't like that. It's something that I really feel like has handicapped me.
Yeah, you created it by doing this for money.
And I created it all on my own. I just had to work through it.
Did you have dreams when you were young of doing something with your life?
Yeah.
What kind of stuff did you envision?
I was expecting to be like graduating from school. Like I wanted to be a prosecuting attorney. And I tried to do everything to like set that up, but everything just always fell through. I was always moving. I was never stationary in one place for too long.
So where you've ended up, does that cause shame for you?
It hasn't caused me shame because I can't think of it that way, or else I'll get like wrapped up in depression. I try to look at the bright side of everything, and that this is everything I'm going through right now is just going to empower me and put me in a better situation. But there is shame because I'm like almost 30. I am 30, and I haven't done anything with my life.
What was the best time of your life?
Best time of my life was pretty much when I first came out, like being trans, because I just felt like I could capture the world.
Was it liberating?
Yeah, it was, because I finally knew what was wrong with me.
And do the drugs make the situation more difficult for you?
It hasn't made it more difficult because it's my coping mechanism now. But when I lose weight, it does become a problem because people automatically associate that living where I live at with drugs. It can never be anything other than that. But it probably has. If you probably talk to somebody that knows me, they probably would say it has. But I don't see how it has.
Have you been in love before?
Yeah, I was in relationships when I was a gay boy, but I haven't really been in one since I tried getting in one, but he was okay with me working, and I didn't like that because I felt like he didn't respect me. And I keep on getting guys like that. They're okay with me working on the blade.
So you would rather find somebody who wasn't okay with that?
Wasn't okay with it. Yeah, because then I felt like he would actually love me.
Where do you think you'll be in 5 years?
Probably in the same spot. Hopefully going to school. But I really don't know. Everything's up in the air right now.
Do you still have contact with your family?
Yeah, I talked to my mom. She recently moved to South Carolina after my grandma died this year. So she's living with her third husband. Yeah, she's doing good. My brother's living with her. He just had a baby. So she's dealing with a kid. So she's okay.
She accepts your lifestyle and all that?
Yeah, she didn't at first, and it wasn't that she didn't accept it, she didn't know how to accept it, because she kept on calling me my other name, and then kept on saying her son, and I actually found out earlier this year that she went through a whole little phase where, like, she was sad because she felt like she lost something. And she did, she lost her son, and I didn't understand that for a really long time. And, but she really embraced having a daughter, and yeah, she's okay, she's probably my number one supporter. It hurts her that I haven't been around her for so long.
And how do you define success? What would make you feel successful?
By touching as many people as possible. That's what I think is successful. Doing something that impact someone's life. And if you can do that with so many people, you're successful.
And what would you say is the most important thing you've learned in your 30 years?
Patience. That's probably the most important. I was never patient when I was a kid. I always had to be right now. And it's just patience. Everything will happen when it's supposed to happen. As long as you do the footwork.
All right. Well, Allison, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Thank you.
Very nice getting to know you. I wish you the best of luck.
Thanks.